You are bold, you are fearless, you are radiant. It's time to unlock the diamond from within. BFF, we rise above, stronger together, we shine with love. Faith unshaken, hearts on fire, fearless souls, we're reaching high.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the BFF Empowerment Podcast, and in particular, the Women on the Rise segment of the BFF Empowerment Podcast. I'm your host, Blaque Diamond, and today with me I have Miss Khiara Cureton. She is an executive career and wealth coach. She's also a keynote speaker and the founder of AncHer. Welcome, Miss Kiara. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me on the show. I'm excited to have this conversation.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah, and this is going to be an interesting one too, because you're hitting all the topics that are definitely important to me. So can you tell the listeners a little bit about yourself?
Yes, well, my name's Khiara Cureton, born and raised in Miami, Florida, currently living in the DMV area. I still work in healthcare. I'm a vice president of operations in healthcare, but I also have this wonderful business, AncHer Co, where, as you mentioned, I'm an executive career and wealth coach for ambitious mothers. And so, just a quick little personal note about why I started this is I had my son, and for about 24 months, I stayed in a role that was, not as challenging. And I was always waiting for like the right time to go after my next role. And, that hesitation cost me my salary growth, career visibility, while I was dealing with, identity shifts of becoming a mom and so forth. And so, I wish that I had had the resource of someone who, still being ambitious, that could help me look at my career as well as my financial health together, and then support me in that way to grow. And so, couldn't find it. I had a financial advisor, but I feel like a lot of the times they, some of them focus on the right here, right now, but a lot of them focus on down the road, and had career mentors, but nobody that truly looked at it holistically. And so I created AncHer.
All right. And so that is a very unique name. What inspired the name Anchor?
Yes, I love this question. So I definitely wanted the word her in there because I was always very clear that I wanted to support women. If a man comes to me, totally happy to support, but all my messaging and branding are very specific to women. And so went through a couple of different names. And honestly, I had a girlfriend and I was like, girl, help me out. And she was like, what about AncHer? And I was like, I love it. And so the reason we chose that was, or why I decided to go with that is because to me, I want women to feel grounded in their money and their career, and in their identity. And so, as we understand the purpose of a ship anchor, that's exactly what, metaphorically, if you will, we're trying to do here at AncHer. And then also, too, since I focus on, your motherhood, your career, and your money, an anchor, a ship anchor actually has those three prongs. So to me, it made sense.
I love it. I actually love it. It's a very unique name. So I
Thank you.
definitely think you did a great job with that.
Oh, thank you.
That kind of inspired also why we came up with BFF Empowerment because, my co-hosts were best friends. We have been for 18, going on 19 years now.
Wow, that's awesome.
And then, we all know what BFF stands for, but
Yes.
then our BFF stands for Beautiful Fearless Faith.
Yes.
So it kind of, combines both of our brands together to create, just women's empowerment, team.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
Okay, I
so
love that.
that's where it comes from. So you work a lot with mothers and money.
Yes.
Um, what has been, in your experience, the most misconception that you found that women have with money, and being a mother?
Yeah, absolutely. So it always goes back to, I'll give two examples. So not negotiating your salary or your raise, and then delaying overall career transitions, right? So, not negotiating your salary or the raise. So, that can kind of look like, you're always accepting the first offer or just skipping the conversation altogether with a current employer. A real life example I've had with a client, she was returning from maternity leave. So, her salary stayed the same, even though her workload increased, right? And she just did
Hmm.
not want to have the conversation because in her head, her thought process was, I don't want to seem ungrateful. Like I'm so, thankful to even still have this job after being a mother. I'll prove myself, et cetera, et cetera. And
Hmm.
then the delaying career transition was more of like, I'm gonna wait for the right time, right? Like I'm gonna wait for the kids to get older. I'm gonna wait
Hmm.
for, I don't know, the insert whatever reasoning they may have. It's usually like waiting for the right time, right? But is there ever truly a right time? So, once the kids are older, I'll focus on me. I need the stability now. But I really work with my clients to just reframe a lot because as we know, we are fed lots of messages
Hmm.
and
Oh,
different
yeah.
messaging from birth to current state that we've carried with us. So, really helping them to pause, take a step back, and truly think about what do they truly want out of, their career or their money and so forth.
Okay. All right. So, what can you tell a woman who may feel what we call success guilt
Hmm.
and who intentionally holds herself back due to feeling that guilt that if she, jumps into this career, is she gonna like, neglect her children or her partner or, so she intentionally like, yeah, like you said, pass up, different promotions and things to kind of keep that stability there.
Yes, this is definitely a block that we work through a lot. So one narrative I try to help my clients kind of reframe a little bit, for example, is, I'm a good mom if I sacrifice XYZ to I'm a great mom when I'm fulfilled. We all know that we can't pour from an empty cup. And I truly believe that, as women and as mothers, when you're energized and when you're fulfilled and when you're financially secure in the work that you're doing, you're going to show up as a better partner, wife, a mother, coworker, colleague, etc. So, it's not selfish,
Hmm.
truly focus on you first. And then I promise you the abundance will be shared with those around you that you care for, you love, and, you respect at work and so forth. Um,
Hmm.
Another thing too is I tell people it does not need to be perfect. Like easier said than done. Let
Yes.
go of perfection because again, kind of the messaging that we've always been taught, but progress beats perfection. You don't have to have everything figured out before you take that next step. I truly believe that clarity comes through action and not overthinking. So just take that little mini micro step, and action creates that confidence, to build and make small moves that will ultimately build momentum that will ultimately just provide the massive progress. But I'm all about little micro steps, 10% shifts that can get you to where you want to get to. But as far as,
Hmm.
the guilt, it is real, but you also, back to what I was saying, you got to be fed first, we
Hmm.
are taught to deplete ourselves at the expense of others, and you just can't work and operate from that space.
Exactly. I definitely agree. So how can a woman who is juggling motherhood, also with an ambitious career, keep herself from being burnt out with, juggling so many responsibilities, especially, um, either whether you're in a relationship or you're a single mother, because,
Right.
single mothers, oof, yeah.
Yeah.
You do a lot.
Yeah. So one strategy that I like is what I call stop, start, continue. And it's actually a strategy that I pulled from my experience in healthcare. But the whole purpose of it is to regularly assess what's working and what isn't, and what needs to be adjusted or changed without feeling like you're failing, right? So you start with, okay, my stop category. So what is the one thing? And I'm not a fan of like, okay, let's change 10 things at once. It's like, what is the one thing right now that you're doing that either drains your time, your money, your energy? So some examples are like, excessive social media scrolling or unnecessary expenses. So identify
Hmm.
what is that one thing. And then the next part of that is start. So understanding what's that one habit or task that you want to stop, choose one habit or action that actually is in alignment with your overall goals and that you want to start doing. So that could be, setting up your savings automatically or, going to the virtual networking events if it feels like too much, after you've worked all day, after you got the kids, to soccer and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
But just identify, again, that one thing. And then I'm always big into celebrating ourselves, which I don't think as women we don't do enough of. It's actually one of my own personal therapy goals this year. But what is that one thing you want to continue? Recognize one thing that you're already doing really, really well and just double down on it, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you're identifying that one thing you want to stop. What's the one thing you want to start, and what's the one thing that you want to continue to keep doing? And then I feel like that gives you the momentum to continue to move forward, identify, make small shifts, but then also continue to do what's working well and celebrate yourself.
Mm-hmm. I like that. Yeah, that's really good. Start, no,
Stop,
stop,
start,
start, and
continue.
continue. I
Yes.
like that. That's a good method. I will definitely have to try to implement that in my life because I do juggle a lot, and sometimes, yes, it can feel very overwhelming.
Mhm.
And just yeah,
And I
feeling
think that's
like,
the
oh,
thing. We're trying to
mm-hmm,
solve for everything at once, right? And
yes.
reality is like it's a lot. We're wearing lots of different hats. So just again, starting with those micro habits, I'm a big fan of.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Let's see here. From your own personal journey, what has been the most difficult thing for you to do as far as having an ambitious career and juggling motherhood?
The hardest part for me has definitely been questioning myself, like, am I doing enough with my son? Am I a good mother? More so the conversations, because I think it's so easy, you go on social media, you see people who have the perfectly like clean, curated house and home
Mm-hmm.
cooked meals all the time, and there's some days my kid's gonna eat Chick-fil-A because guess what? I'm tired, you know?
Mm-hmm. I see
Um,
people be like, criticizing parents for letting their kids, watch tablets and stuff. I'm
yep.
like, you try working a full-time job and having to still come home and manage the household. And like, if you're a stay-at-home mom, yeah, you can engage and play and do all, you have the time to do that. But if you're a career mom, unfortunately, yeah, that time is not there because I was that at one point and I saw the total difference once I went back to work and I'm like, I used to be like that. And oh nope, no tablet, or if it was for like a very small
Short
amount of
period of
time.
time. Right.
But
Yeah.
having to juggle working too, it was just like, okay.
Yeah, it's difficult, but I think that's where I struggle the most because when I got pregnant, I was like, "Ooh, all organic, no TV." The
Hmm.
reality is my energy, right? Like, and it's like it's okay if he's watching 30 minutes of TV, or it's okay if he has Chick-fil-A once a week, or whatever. And so I think that was the hardest part for me because I had this vision of what I thought I wanted to look like and motherhood to feel like and look like. And it's
Hmm.
not always my reality. And I've become okay with that. My kid is happy, healthy, and he's doing just fine. So, still working through that a little bit, but that's been the hardest part is, it's that tug. Sometimes it feels that tug between my ambition and my career. For example, like I had a 7 p.m. meeting last night with some physicians. Guess what he was
Hmm.
doing? Watching TV, while I was like get through that meeting for the 41 minutes. And he's
Hmm.
just fine. So that's been the hardest part for me.
Yes, especially when you're a first time mom. Yeah,
Oh
you
yeah.
definitely want
First
to be
one.
perfect. You want to
Yep.
do everything right. You want to like I was that same exact way. No McDonald's. No, we're going to eat vegetables and fruits and.
Right. Right.
And now my son wants McDonald's every day if he
Yeah.
can. And I'm like, no.
Yeah. Listen, mine wants McDonald's, but the only reason he wants is for the toy. And I'm like, we can get a toy elsewhere. We don't have to go to McDonald's just to get a toy.
Oh
So
yeah, my son, he if he has McDonald's
so
too much,
funny.
because I tell him like McDonald's only upgrades their toy like once a month.
Right.
So if you're tired of getting, because he complains, it's the
I
same
already have this. Yep. Yep.
toy. I'm like, that means you need to stop eating McDonald's then.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
you're only going to get a different toy once a month.
Right. Right. So it's funny.
Let's see here. So when it comes to financial goals and financial tips, what advice would you give someone who is a mom that may be struggling financially or is just starting her financial journey, like trying to, get better with finances?
Yeah. So the first thing, I don't care if you're making $2 million or if you're making, $40,000. The first thing I always tell clients is you have to understand how your money is moving, right? So what is
Mm-hmm.
coming in, if you have more of a corporate job that's a lot more consistent, right, with your income, so you're able to plan a little bit easier. But even if
Mm-hmm.
you're working, a job where your paychecks are different, regardless, you need to know the numbers, so
Mm-hmm.
what's coming in, what's going out. And I know people don't love the word budget, but you can say
Budget,
spending
yes.
plan, but I know people say budgeting feels limited. So I call it a spending plan, whatever you want to call it. I like, even within my coaching, what we do in the first couple of months is I literally walk with them because you have people create a budget and they're like, yeah, I only spend like $60 a month on, let's say, Chick-fil-A again, right? But
Mm-hmm.
it's like, do you though? And then we go through the last 3 months of their expenses. And then I pull all that information and I'm like, actually, you're spending closer to like $350 a month in Chick-fil-A, right? Like, is that
Oh,
in
wow.
alignment with your personal goals, whether it's a health goal, personal goal, whatever, right? Or money, financial goals. So going through and just getting really realistic with like where your money is going, how much is coming in, and then just taking a deep breath. I know money can bring up a lot of emotions, anxieties, and
Stress.
feelings, and stress, especially in the times that we're in right now. But the only way that you're able to even make any change, whatever the change may be, is you have to know, you have to look at your numbers. So I always say start there, know your numbers, what's coming in, what's going out, create your spending plan, and then sit with that for a little bit and say, is this actually in alignment with my goals? Because, or my personal values? If not, then like, what do I need to change? What can I adjust? And yeah, and just, another big thing too that I really want women to do is I want them to create safe little circles, if you will, to be able to talk about money. So whether that's with your ministry, whether that's with your, 2 or 3 other, friends, just start talking about it, and get
Mm-hmm.
comfortable, get curious about money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because money has always been more so of a quote unquote male
Right. Dominated.
thing,
Yep.
because they were the ones making the money and they were
Right.
the ones paying the bills. So yeah, it's especially, if you're in like a stay-at-home mom type of situation or so yeah, women and getting comfortable with being able to talk about money
Mhm.
and learn how to spend and budget money is
Right.
definitely like very important.
Yes, yes. And then, once you get very comfortable with that, knock out a couple of goals, then you can start worrying about, and in your savings and so forth. Then you can worry about, investing and so forth, which I also am a fan of when it makes sense, depending on your debt levels and things like that. But investing it could be in the market, or it could be just making sure that you're contributing to your 401(k) or whatever your employer offers there.
Hmm.
So there's lots of different ways, but you got to get comfortable with it and understand what your personal finance situation looks like.
Hmm. And so with AncHer, is that what women will learn with going through your program and doing the courses and things like that in the coaching?
Yes. So we have our signature program is a 12-month program. And I love to be able, so I only take on 4 clients a quarter. And that's because it's a very high touch coaching program. To have like, think about having, an hour to yourself every week to really just lean in and pour into yourself, your career, and your money. So, very high level. We start off the first couple of months, weekly touch points, and really, I start off with mindset, right? So, understanding what is your money story, right? Whether it was messaging through, the church plate or messaging at, when you went to the quarter store for some candy, it just, what are those things that are coming up for you, and what have you carried to, your current state as an adult? Um,
Okay.
And then again, is in alignment with what you want your future self to look like financially and in your career. So we do that for both your money and your career. And then I support them, right? So we will do the resume reviews, the LinkedIn reviews, the budget reviews, the investing. It's really, and again, that's why I only take four at a time because it's so personalized to what's a woman's goals are. We
Mhm.
definitely have a curriculum for sure, but it's tailored to what your specific goals are. So we'll learn all about that. We'll talk about it. We'll work through it. We'll set a plan. And then as we near the end of the 12 months, it's all about celebrating and implementing and, maintaining.
I like it. Okay. And so where can, if someone is interested in signing up for your program, where can they find that information?
Yeah, so our website is a great place. It is www.anchor, I'll spell that for you, ANCHERCO.com. So www.anchorco.com. We actually have a wonderful career and money action plan quiz that is very insightful. You can book
Mhm.
a free discovery call on there, learn more about our signature coaching program. You can also connect with me on Instagram at the Anchor Co. So that's TheAnCher.com. And then lastly, if you're not ready to commit at that level quite yet, you can join our free Facebook group. It's titled Her Next Title Collective. And it's really, I created it where ambitious mothers can support each other in building their careers and the income they deserve. So lots of different ways to reach out and connect.
I like. Okay. So let's see here. Do you have any last, tips or advice to give anyone who's interested in getting better comfortable with money management and wealth building?
Yeah, so I would just say no, nothing additional to what I said, but just really just start. Just start. Even if you want to do a session with me that's specific around, your money, please reach out. This is something I truly enjoy helping women with. And last thing I would say is, remember, you don't have to choose between being a great mom and being a powerful, ambitious woman. You can be both. You do not have to choose.
Choose one or the other. Yeah, a lot of times, yeah, we do feel like we have to, choose one, and if we don't, then, we're neglecting, the other part, or, I definitely struggled with that a lot, especially when I had my son. And
Mhm.
then because like I wasn't able to stay home with him like I wanted to be, I had to
Okay.
literally go back to work like when he was 7 weeks old.
Oh, wow.
And so I missed a lot of, the important things. And
Right.
so I've always made it my mission, the next time, I was ready to have another child, I was going to make sure that, because I was breastfeeding and everything, and I
Mhm.
was literally at work pumping,
Oh, wow.
running over to the daycare to get,
Yeah,
to
it's
take
tough,
milk
man.
and excuse me. But thankfully with my job I have now, I'll be able to take that extended time to be able to have that bonding time with my child. So definitely I'm going to do things differently this go
Yeah,
around.
you live and you learn.
Yes. I wanted to take more time off, but unfortunately, my job only paid 6 weeks maternity leave.
Yeah, yeah.
And that was it. So with my job I have now, I get 6 months.
Nice.
So I'm gonna
Nice.
take advantage
Congratulations. Yeah.
of 6 months.
Take advantage of
And
that for
it's
sure.
fully paid,
Oh, I
100%.
love that. That's the real win there.
Yeah, so I was like, I look forward to, taking advantage of that and being able to spend that time so that I don't feel that guilt about having to rush
Right.
back to work, right after having my baby.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's awesome. And congratulations that, that's 7 weeks and 6 months. What a difference, right?
Yes,
And I think too, it's like when your company makes an investment in you like that, you will make that investment right, back once you return. So that's awesome.
exactly. All right, so now we've reached my favorite part of the show.
Okay.
It's called What is she thinking? So I'm just
Okay.
gonna give you five phrases,
Okay.
and you just tell me the first thing that comes to your mind. Don't think too hard about it. It's just something fun just to kind of get to know you.
What is she thinking? What are her thoughts? Quick, fast, no blinking. What do you got?
All right, let's do
So
it.
your first phrase is money is.
A tool.
Okay, I like. Okay, so don't forget to,
Take care of yourself first.
okay, the stars are aligned.
When you have an undescribable feeling in your spirit or in your soul, that things will work out the way they're supposed to.
Okay, and we have here horns make me.
Sorry, say that one more time. You said
Horns.
horns.
Horns. Yeah, make me.
Oh man. I think of the first thing that comes to my head was a bull, but then like noise because my child and like music instruments is what pops up
Yeah.
for me. So I'm like, horns are noisy?
Yes. Okay, you can't tell me.
That I'm not going to achieve everything I set myself out to do.
All right, I love that one. Yes, definitely. That is definitely what we are all about. All right. So any last words before we end this segment?
No, this has been great. Thank you so much for having me. And again, if today's conversation resonated with any of our audience members, I just love to stay connected in the ways that I mentioned before. So please reach out.
Yes, please do, because I think I will be.
Yeah.
Um, this is definitely up my alley. I'm always looking for ways to empower myself and also
Yes.
empower others. So for me, being financially stable, financially,
Mhm.
it is an empowerment in
It
itself.
is. It truly, truly, it gives you options. So yes, totally in agreement.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in to another episode of the BFF Empowerment Podcast. Don't forget to follow us on all major podcasting platforms. Also, follow us on our social media at Facebook, BFF Empowerment Podcast. We are on Instagram at BFF Empowerment Podcast. Also, Threads, BFF Empowerment Podcast, and YouTube at BFF Empowerment Podcast. Be sure to also check out our website at bffempowermentpodcast.com. If you would like to be a guest on the Women on the Rise segment of the BFF Empowerment Podcast, be sure to send us an email at bffempowerment@gmail.com. If you have any topic suggestions or just want to just send us a chat, we definitely look forward to speaking to you, and we will see you next time. Thank you so much for listening.